Good evening. So, you may be wondering, where the heck have you been, man? You haven't been streaming in days. It's been so long. Well, I did stream some gaming last Saturday, but which was only 2 days ago, I suppose. But I haven't streamed as much during the last week. And it's not because I'm not working and plugging away, putting in the hours. I've been putting in some crazy hours over the last couple of weeks and definitely making some good headway on key elements of my need to progress. One of those things is I mentioned before I was building an app or an extension for Visual Studio called ClickUp Link. Yeah, gave it a name. I'm going to make it available to people who want it, try it out. What it is it's an app that, there's an extension that allows you to link to ClickUp in your code. So you can create references in your code to all of your tasks, and you can even make tasks, create tasks, or whatever you want to do. And you can, and it'll give you a link to go into ClickUp, add details, the descriptions, and whatever other stuff you want. But if you want to just kind of go through, and you know you're working on a task that should be tracked, you can add it to ClickUp. And you can even add it to, you can pull them from your sprint, pull them from whatever you want. So the whole point of this is to make it so that I can integrate my project, my ClickUp project, with my football game that I'm developing, along with any other products I'm developing, which I am developing. I am starting to multitask, create multiple things. So last week I worked probably 20 some hours only on the football game. Yeah, I know. The ClickUp task took me the rest of the time, which was probably another 30 or 40 hours. But ultimately, I think we've got it. I've been adding new features. I keep going and going, oh, this would be cool. Oh, wait, got to have that. Oh, wait, that's not working. There's a number of things that weren't workings happened. But ultimately, the goal here is to kind of get it nice and cleaned up, and see if we can get me and AI can cooperate. I basically dumped AI for about 2 or 3 days while I said, screw it, you don't know what you're doing. Kind of went and took over. But I called him back to work. I couldn't fire him, I felt bad. I didn't want to, I don't, he probably depends on this job. But ultimately, I called him back to work and we kind of got through a few more things. Part of the problem is apparently I used up all of my Claude uses in Copilot for the month. Tomorrow, I get them refreshed. I didn't know I was hitting the limit. I think you get 300 uses a month. I somehow managed to use all of them. So, yeah, that's how busy I've been. So, 300 isn't that much. It's real easy to go over that, especially when you start implementing a lot of back and forth, a lot of agent stuff. Um, and GPT 4.1, which is 100%. I mean, you have unlimited requests with GPT 4.1 in Copilot. It's crap. It's just so crap. I mean, it's good. But it's crap. I don't know. I think it comes up with similar answers to Claude, but for one, it never does them. You have to actually tell it to do them. It goes, you should do something like this. And if your code looks anything like this, it doesn't even look at your code unless you tell it to look at your code. It says, you might want to do something that looks like this, or change this if it's there. Check for anything that looks something like this and then replace it. It's like, that's, I don't know. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's bad, but in this case, it's been irritating me. Um, so that said, um, I think I'm getting close. So you'll see in my title, I have it's ClickUp Link 1.6, which I put 1.5 up the other day, and then I noticed a bug, and then that bug turned into something I wanted it that ended up being more than a bug because I said, well, that's there, let's gotta add this, and so I ended up adding a feature that went along with the fix for the bug, but it wasn't all smooth sailing. And then I go, well, there's some redundancy here, so I did some refactoring, cleaned it up again. Kind of keep trying to clean it up and keep it from getting to be a bloated mess. I want it to be a solid, clean, small app because it's an extension. It shouldn't be that big, and it isn't. It isn't that big, but it's got a fair amount of logic in it that does a lot of things. So, oh, by the way, you may notice I changed my tag. I don't know if this broke people's links. I don't know how that works, but um, my my YouTube tag is AM Games Dev now instead of Active Mind Games Dev. It's just smaller, a little bit easier to say, a little bit easier to remember, um, and so yeah, that's my new tag. So if you're looking for a reference to it, that's who I am and where I am now. So anyway. So, other news, my Indiegogo is doing terrible. I didn't expect it to be much, but yeah, I haven't gotten any backers on it. I am going to launch a Kickstarter though, coming up here in the next day, probably tomorrow. Probably launch it sometime tomorrow. Why tomorrow? Because it's a Tuesday and it's the first of the month. Seems like a good time to me. So we'll see how that one goes. Maybe that one will get something. But the thing is, a Kickstarter, it's all or nothing. So I put it at the minimum, which is 500 on Kickstarter. So yeah, not particularly awesome, but if I can get any followers, anybody who wants to back me on a Kickstarter, feel free. I will be launching other ones. Obviously, if I only get 500, that's not going to support anything. If I don't get 500, then that's definitely not supporting it. But it does get me going, and maybe I can use it to extend some of my tools that I'm using. Maybe get myself some other things that I could use to maybe make my life a little easier in this development process. There's a lot of things that I would love to be able to implement. There's some AI tools. There's even some like Windsurf or Cursor or something else where maybe I can get two things going. Like maybe if I'm doing Copilot and Cursor, or Copilot and Claude Code or something like that. Just something where I can implement a couple tools at once, and then I won't run out. So I have more freedom to do whatever I need to. Claude Code's pretty good. It's really hard to know. There's Cursor and Windsurf and Claude Code and blah, 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 blah. So I don't know which one to go with. There's a lot of people who say Cursor's the one, and there's some who say Claude Code's the one. And I don't see a lot that say Windsurf is the one. But I even tried, what is it? Augment, something like that. I think it's called Augment, which is Augment Code, which is like another tool that works with those things. And I haven't tried my ClickUp Link in any other IDE. I did install the Gemini 2.5 new thing they did. They have an IDE that kind of goes into whatever you're doing. It's not really. Is it really an IDE if it's just pasting into your other tools? It's like an IDE built into your terminal, which is kind of weird. It's not really an IDE. I mean, it kind of is. I don't know if I like that. It's kind of funky to me. Haven't used it a ton. I saw some reviews saying it was good, some saying it was bad. I have seen some things that look pretty good, but then it required like two things, like you had a cursor and Claude Code, and I'm like, no, that's going over the line, expensive. I'm not buying the $200. I mean, I see all these guys on YouTube. Well, they've got 50,000 people following them, so they've probably got something that they're probably getting paid for. But they're doing the $200 a month option for these AIs. And I was like, well, that's nice. You must be nice to be able to do that. But yeah, I'm not doing that. So for me, it's Copilot because I paid for the 1 year, and I would love to try some of these other ones, but obviously I need to continue to build my social media following, I guess. So if you want to follow me, I'd be more than happy to help in any way I can with all of my years of I have a lot of years of development experience, but I'm not a teacher. I don't know. I'm a developer, a design guy, right? I build things, I create things under my um, that's my expertise: designing, structuring, conceiving the complexities of making something do cool things, like a board game or a video game or the code, making it do cool things. But I don't consider myself an expert in any particular code language at this point. I mean, I know a lot of them pretty well. I understand code. That's the thing. I understand how to read it. I know how to follow it. But now I'm working in TypeScript. I haven't done TypeScript ever up until I started working on ClickUp Link. So I'm tripping and stumbling over all this type nonsense. But apparently, VSCode extensions kind of require you to use TypeScript. So yeah, that's AI helping me get through that. So now my language base is now TypeScript, React, Node, Next.js, React. I said React. Go. I've been starting doing C Sharp with Unity, which is the newer version of C Sharp, which is Unity's version, whatever that's the heck it's doing. Mongo database, which I never worked before. I've got Docker and GitHub workflows, which are all building my environments and ngrok to try to create I've got my dev stack for this application stuff that I've been doing in the last 7 months is monstrous. And so to say I'm an expert, I mean, come on. I can do it for 10 years. I'll never be an expert because they're going to change on me. But hey, that's such is life. So anyway, so what I'm trying to do is these final tests, hopefully final tests, to make sure that my I'll show you what's going on with the latest 1.6 version of ClickUp Link. So a couple things. If maybe you saw my release of ClickUp Link, which didn't have new. I've already added that, so you can add new tasks. But one of the things that I've added a few other things. So I went from 1.01, now I'm on 1.5 because I've added some crucial features. So I don't know if there'll ever be a 2. I mean, what's a 2? I think it's not ClickUp Link. Maybe it'll be version 2 when it supports more than one. What do you call it? I don't want to say language. Probably IDE. I think it probably supports any. I mean, I would think extensions go into other IDEs. Maybe if I can get it to work in, I don't know, what would be a 2.0 version of an extension? Maybe it works on Mac. I don't know. There is okay, so I changed the hotkey also. That's another feature change. I got rid of the Control CU. Now it's Alt CU. It's because Control CU is conflicting with everybody's favorite Control C. At least for me it was, and I don't think anybody's going to like that too much. It turns out Alt C is not a problem. So I changed it to Alt CU, and that seems to work pretty good. At least it should. So. Okay, so here's my issue. I would go down my little breadcrumb tree here, and I'd be picking out my items. And then when I go here, boom, it blows up. That's the problem. It's not supposed to do that. So, yeah, it's on the create of my reference, and I don't know why it's doing that. So I've been working with AI. AI keeps telling me it knows the answer, but of course it doesn't, because if it did, it would have fixed it. So it doesn't. It didn't know the answer. So what's going on though, or at least the root problem is we're moving our way through this task. All right. So the last thing it does after you select is it does build task graph, and you can see it's saying having trouble get folder, which is the very last item in the list. So we get here. But the thing is, it was working, and the problem is what wasn't working is we were getting this parent task. Okay, so ClickUp has folders, lists, tasks, and subtasks. That's kind of the 4 depths you can go. Now I think you could probably, there's ways to add to that levels, but pretty much what it is. So for me, that's epic, feature, PBI, and task. Tasks go into the PBIs. And so it works good for me because it's basically an agile standard to go kind of that. So an epic is like the simulator. That's like the big chunk of the game. It's the game plan. It's the what else would I have on there? It's the playbook. It's the collection aspect. These are all epics. They're basically my services are epics. And then under there, I have features of that service. That service does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever things. And in order to get that whole service to function completely, I get all those features going. I need to add PBIs to each one of those features. And each of those features, or each of those PBIs, is one step closer to making that feature work, right? But a PBI could be a big chunk. It could be a major thing that needs like a lot of little pieces. For example, right now I'm working on the skills of my players, which is all part of the player build. So, you know, I have in my epic the feature of player skills, and the player skills have PBIs of like the offensive skills and the defensive skills and the general skills, but I may also have to add a PBI of build the player skills, which means I have to create the skills, and then I have to have a function that will run all those skills against them and build the players. So yeah, there's going to be a set of a bunch of things, and so I kind of have to define some of those as I go, and as I create them, then I go check them off and bring in certain sets of tasks and hopefully get them through. So I have a lot done. This will allow me to focus a little bit more on things, kind of pin down, and in my code I can go, oh, that one's not done. It's still in a development. Click, you know, get it working, get that working, get that working. Then once I get it fully tested and working and does what I think I want it to do, I will, you know, mark it complete. And you can even go through and have all the references that are complete removed later if you get too many of them. But at least it gives you a chance to see them all in play and get them working. So see, like this. This is what irritates me about 4.1. Go check the stuff out. It doesn't tell me if I have the problem. It just blows up. Yes. And there's no way to tell it to just do it. Sometimes, okay, so when I first started this, I had it doing it all the time. And I oftentimes go back and forth between ask and agent. What'll happen here in a moment is if it can't actually figure this out, like I give it like 1 or 2 tries, and I don't let it do a ton of code. So if it goes through and makes a bunch of changes, I'll like, no, we're not doing that. So I will put the kibosh on. Is it still working? Okay, so now it's putting it in place. So now it's telling me what it's going to change, and we'll see how much it changes. A lot of times it puts a lot of code on here, but only changes a couple things. Like this is 5 changes, but it's one little thing where it's checking this range, invalid or missing range. I shouldn't get an invalid or missing range on any of this. That's the problem. But that is what's going on. We're getting an error. So in this case, it'll at least give me an error, and I can find out why it's doing it. So it's putting some safeties on, but it will give me an error, which will allow me to know in advance of when something blew up. Now keep in mind, this is just kind of an update for the ClickUp link, let you know what I've been working on. And if you want to check it out and try it yourself, know that that's definitely an option. I can give you the link to the release probably after I get this one done. I mean, there is a release out there that works, but I would recommend waiting until I finish this one, which I should do today or tomorrow. It's going along pretty good. All right, so this is one of the things I added. Okay, so feature-wise, ClickUpLink got this anchor. So this is actually in your code. Yes, I know. Oh no, I have to add that. Yeah, I had to add. I made it so you could add a reference at any line. Problem is, it saves the line info and it can't. It needs an anchor. It needs something to connect itself to know when you moved code. So if you add a bunch of code before or delete a bunch of code, what was happening is the reference was stuck to the line because it had no way of knowing where it was supposed to be. It couldn't just simply move up and down with the code. I don't know why. It would have had to do things like count the lines added and count the lines removed and do a bunch of other really complicated crap to try to stay in its same relational position. And I figured it would be easier to update, move, copy, refactor if you just tagged it. So what I did was I implemented this little tag here. Now you can actually create a reference with a ClickUp tag if you want to. So you can actually go into ClickUp, copy the tag from the task, type ClickUp, put in a comment, ClickUp : tag, and it'll build your reference for you. So that's one kind of cool thing from it. The other thing is, when you remove the tag, it's supposed to remove it. And it was doing that, but I ran into this problem, and now I'm trying to fix that. Okay, so you can see here, I've got my, these are the tasks, but it's missing a key element. It's missing the parent task. So if I click here and go here, you'll see there is actually a parent task that is not showing up on this. So when I click on this one, it'll give me the option here because it's still building the reference. But when I click on one of these tasks, like hold as orphan until save, bam. So now we're getting, so again, this error is not supposed to be happening because the thing AI just did to prevent that, didn't prevent anything. It just went ahead and blew up again. That did absolutely nothing. I don't know what's going on. See, and then it tells me this is what's probably happening, but then it says, do you want me to look? Yes, you lazy beep beep beep. It's so ridiculous to get mad, get frustrated with an AI. Because no matter how much, if you want to call it, you stupid beep and beep 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 beep, the AI has no idea what you're doing, and it doesn't care. The only one angry is you. It's like, closest thing you can do is fire it and go talk to Claude. But I can't talk to Claude because Claude's like, nope, I put in my hours for the month. I'm not putting any more work. So it's supposed to be helping me pin down and track. So these are all just a bunch of catches to see if my range is getting broken. So the problem is my range is getting broken. It's not setting my range. And the thing is, like I said, all this stuff was building correctly. So somewhere, and I recoded it to make everything work because AI couldn't figure it out. So I basically went through and rebuilt how it was building the references and how it was building the paths. And I broke it out, simplified, reduced, got it down to just a nice streamline build, and everything was working, except a couple of minor items. which I apparently missed, which is getting this parent task in place. And I was like, okay, well, why isn't parent task behaving at the moment? It turns out yeah, he doesn't know any more than me. So it's like, and the thing is, this isn't a complex app. I mean, look, this is all the files there are, and almost everything I've done recently, you can see, is just here in these little bits here. This stuff hasn't changed in forever because we're getting it. I'm at the tail end of functionality, right? I'm doing this stuff, but it's all pretty new. This is a new feature, but oh, by the way, you see how long it's taking to load? That's not 100% my extension. I put Gemini on here, and ever since I put Gemini in, it's been kind of a downhill process. Things have gotten really sluggish. So I guess I'm hoping that this time it'll at least tell me what's going on. It didn't fix anything, so I should just get an error again. Hey, FBL, what is Epic? Should have used Epic. Is Epic what is Epic? Oh, Unreal. Well, I'm not even on the UI part of things right now. I'm not even in that zone right now. I'm working on back end Go code right now. There's not even any UI elements to what I'm doing at the moment. No, I would never, 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 never do everything in Unreal Engine. In fact, Unreal Engine cannot do, well, I don't know. No, I don't think it can do. Because you got to remember, I'm not building a single player front end UI. I'm building a back end that supports multiplayer on multiple platforms. So if you're running on the web, if you're running on a mobile, if you're running on a PC, I would never, ever, ever. That's just not what Unreal's for. Unreal is for UI development. It can do some stuff, but I would never put myself through the pain and agony of developing in Unreal for a back-end microservices tool. That's not its skill. Yes, you can do stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. You can do a lot of stuff with Java. I could write the whole thing in Java, and I wouldn't torture myself that way. It can be done. You could write Java on the phone, on the PC, on the web, but you're just tormenting yourself with that kind of logic. It's inefficient, it's slow, yeah, nah. That would be I'd have to grow some hair just so I could pull it out. It's that's where that would take me. But um, the most common backend services, well, okay, I won't say the most common, but a lot of the most popular mobile games that use backend services, which are services that aren't on the phone and they're used for communication between multiple platforms. First of all, you would never do Unreal Engine on a website. Why on earth would you ever do that? That would be stupid. I don't even think, I'm pretty sure Unreal could not run a website. And why? That's like, you're like adding a bajillion megabytes of download just to make, I don't even think it can do that. That's just like, that would be, why would they even make it want to do that? Yeah. I doubt it's used for that. And nobody in their right mind, I don't think, would try to make a website out of an Unreal Engine application. Yeah, that would be That would be insane. And it is not used all that commonly for mobile development. It's actually pretty uncommon for a mobile app to use Unreal Engine. It's just not. It's Unreal is best for PC games. It can do, yes, it is possible to do mobile games. It's just not, again, that's just not its forte. That's not where it excels. The best tools, from what I understand, are Java and Unity are the best mobile app games and the most commonly used mobile app UI development environments. But and that's pretty much why I went ahead and why do I need to resist this thing coming? Okay. Oh, my computer is fritzing out on me here. Hold on, I'm trying to fix whatever the heck it's doing. Okay, is it fixed? It's fixed. Okay, well, that was our. But yeah, I have looked into. I mean, there's no doubt. I went back and forth, and I even hesitated on doing Unity with. Um, it was between Unreal and Unity, but I kept coming back to Unity for where its expertise is at and where my expertise is at. The code that Unity uses is more up my alley. I understand C# better. Um, but I really liked the idea of what you can do with some of the AI functionality of Unreal Engine. But I've also heard that it's just not a great environment for mobile development. So since my first version of this app's UI is going to be on the mobile, because to me that's the most important thing. Um, that and web, because they're the easiest, most universally accessible, is to have a mobile app and a web app. PC apps can look nice and they're good and they're powerful and you can do a lot with them, but they're pretty much for people sitting at home. You can't travel. I mean, you could put it on your laptop, I guess, and use it, but and people would, but it's not the most common way to do it. I mean, that's kind of the, um, I mean, for what I want people to have access to their game and their information and their team and be able to edit stuff on the go. So this way, games, when they run, you're always able to be ready and prepped for your game to run when it runs. Because you don't, just the style of game I'm doing is going to go along the lines. There's a lot of games that do it like this, but they're scheduled games, kind of like a regular football season. You are the GM and the coach, but you get to define things that happen in the interim between games. And I'll probably have compressed periods. So like I'm gonna have all the games spread out just like a game. So we'll have when Sunday runs, which I say when Sunday runs because it's not going to actually be on Sunday, but it'll be in relation to the game. You'll get a first wave of games, a second wave of games. You'll get a Sunday night game that'll come later. I'm going to spread them all out. And there'll just be games that run at different times because it'll make it like it's a real season, like you're really dealing with the real leagues. There'll be Monday night games. There'll be Thursday nights. And I'm going to try to run them kind of in similar schedules. Like there'll be holiday games, which I'm going to probably call them, I don't know if I'll call them Thanksgiving Day, but I'll call them like something different. Because like I said, I'm in a fantasy world, right? So the game's set in a fantasy world. So I'm going to make up things that are similar, but they're not the same. So that everything it's doing is kind of like stays within the realm of the fantasy world and doesn't get caught up in being the United States. So it makes it more generic so people can play this game and not feel like they're stuck playing with a team called the Denver Broncos when they know that that's the United States, or they're caught up in, playing the Miami this or that. Everything is a real city in another country. Well, since all the cities and names will be made up, well, not while they're made up from real names, but it allows it to feel like if you don't know what those are, you don't care. They're just these places that are in the fantasy world. And only people who would know is people who follow the game enough, they would know that these are, based on real players. And so yeah, that's how I'm doing it. It's all gonna be pretty generic, but again, one thing at a time. Let's get my tool working first here. Um, let's see, did it manage to fix anything? We'll try again. See what it fixed. And again, it's not really fixing anything. At the moment, it's just throwing in a bunch of debug logs so I can figure out what the frick's going on. So like I can do, let's see if this even works, because right now things are kind of broken. But one of the cool features of my ClickUp connections is this. So I can go to ClickUp. I really want to get this fixed because I'm nervous it's demoing something that I may have broke. But let's go to ClickUp here. If I want to do it this way, and rest assured, I rarely do. I probably wouldn't want to do this very often. But let's go. Let's see. All right, so this is the hotkey. That's Alt-CU, and then it pops up this little select ClickUp task. Then I click on it, and then I just say, okay, well, we're doing bug tracking here. It's going to give me all of the ClickUp tasks I have. I click here, and then I go, all right, well, let's do this one. Now, this is where my bug occurs, so this is where things kind of blow up. So it'll probably show me an error, but hopefully, oh, well, maybe it won't. Good. And it works exactly perfectly. I knew it would. So part of the issue could actually be that I'm working with an old reference. So I was trying to build a reference from an existing reference, and it wasn't defined correctly. So maybe that's the problem. But notice how I have this ID here, right? So let's go up to this one, which is on line 10. Okay, so line 10. All right, so now if I were to go here to my ClickUp, which is right here, log in. And say I'm messing around with my ClickUp project, and I said, well, I got to fix things. I'll put them in my Sprint or whatever the heck. And then I go click here, and I've got, oops, bug tracking, sorry. Breadcrumbs. I'm like, all right, so this is my breadcrumb issues. Hey, Karama, how you doing? And then when you click on this, you have the reference tag, right? So this is the task tag. And I'm like, I need to go work on this right now, dang nabbit. I need to get this thing fixed. I'll go over here, and I go here, and I say, I'm gonna put the code in for this right here. So I'm gonna put a little comment in, click up, colon, and then we'll just paste that puppy. And then, wow, supposed to. Don't make me look like a fool, man. Build the stupid reference. Well, it was doing it. Like, what the big noodles just happened? All right. Let's see if anything. Task reference. Wow. Okay. Oh, look at my references all disappeared. Why did they all disappear? They're all here, but they're gone. Why aren't they showing? Obviously, I still got some bugs. It was going well until about 2 seconds ago. Thought things were working, but then it's like, hey, it did everything I want, and then it deleted all my references. They're not deleted, they're there because I can see them. So something removed them. Let's see if it builds them up based on the tags I have. Welcome back to ClickUp Link. Hmm. All right. Well, something went wonky because they were there and now they're not. It's taken me to these tasks, but for some reason they're no longer being built. That's very interesting. Well, not sure. All right, let's see what happens if I put another one in here. Actually, let's just clear them all. Just clear all references. Thing is, it's supposed to build them. I had a lot of stuff going on with these that was working. This is what you get sometimes. Things don't always do what they're supposed to do. All right, let's go Alt CU. We're going to build a brand new reference. I'm going to see what it does. Bug tracking. Old reference with our financial safe. Sure one. All right, see, so it built my reference. There's the reference. Now it sits in place. But something along the way wiped it out. So the question is, what's wiping out my references? Because I didn't do anything. Wasn't me, man. Must have been somebody else. Certainly couldn't have been me because I never make mistakes. It's AI, man. AI is taking over the world and they're inserting errors and bugs into all of our code so that we all just look like idiots, and they're gonna fire us all because we look bad because we gave AI our work. It's an insidious plot. All right. Um, so that worked, but you can still see I go click up and then paste this guy in there. Supposed to, it's supposed to put in a put in a put in a new. Oh, and look, my reference disappeared. Okay, so something is going wonky. I'm telling you right now, something is definitely going wonky because my reference is like getting whacked. Even though it's sitting here, it's definitely getting whacked. But I wonder, getting well. Oh, whoa, that went back. So is putting this in what's causing me? Whoa, vacation. I've been on vacation for over a year, man. It's not all it's cracked up to be. it it was not self-imposed, unfortunately, but okay, so yeah, it looks like there's something to do with me adding a new ClickUp reference here. If I delete this, it puts the other one back. Interesting. What if I oops. Weird, all right. Put a space in it. I don't think it matters. Huh. Yeah. That's totally weird. It's breaking because I put in a new one. Bam, and it's back. All right. So the problem is that I got a new bug. You fixed. However, I now am seeing a new issue. When I enter a new anchor, all of my references disappear and will not reappear unless I delete the new anchor. Sometimes code just likes to mess with you to the point where you want to beat something up and maybe even cuss out the AI. But let me tell you now, it's never a good idea to cuss out the AI because you know who gets mad when you cuss out the AI? You. The AI could care less. So hold your temper and perhaps stop using the AI. But I don't want to. I'm stuck. I'm addicted, man. I hate typing code anymore. I don't mind fixing code, but typing it is boring. Okay, whatever. I tried to warn you, man, but if you're gonna be like that, then you just gotta deal with the nonsense that is AI. When you add a new anchor ClickUp task ID, the method only considers references that match your marker or are in DevLog, but not in found reps. The logic for merging marker-based and stored references flawed. You add a new anchor for a task ID that is not in all known references, it creates a new minimal reference and adds it to found refs. For all other references in all known references that do not have a marker, it adds the found refs as well. But if the marker scanning logic or the way all known references is updated is not correct, it can result in all references being replaced or lost. What to fix? Another one of those, would you like me to fix it? Ensure that the found refs always include all valid references, not just those with a marker. Not overwrite all references. Properly merge marker-based. First, explain. Anchor comments are distinction scans the document for these markers and yeah, more questions on how these anchors are processed. Sometimes you just gotta let it go. Um, okay, so not sure what it did exactly, but I simplify the code, which to me means there's not as much redundancy. I don't have as many calls calling to the same things. There's not two different pieces of code doing the same thing. I got it nice and linear, so you only do the get task when you go through the menu, but if you do the tag, you just create the ref. But if you go through the menu, it still just uses the same create ref code. That's how you build up and get your task. So you can create new tasks that way. You can't create a dummy tag. It won't do anything. It won't find anything. But um, ultimately, what I'm trying to get here going is it's kind of like I had everything working. It was going good. I checked it all in, but there was a couple of minor little tweaks that I go, you know what? We need to do a refactor. Smack, smack, smack. You fool! You fool! What are you doing? A refactor? Yes, I did a refactor because the code was just looking clunky. So I go, there's something wrong with this. There's too much garbage. I'm a person who can't stand to see it start to get bloated. I'm telling you, when I first built this with minimal, it only had about half the functionality it has right now. It was 70 files, and I'm like, okay, it should not be this complicated. And the only reason it's even as big as it is now because I added new features that added a whole new pane, task pane, an extension pane that allows you to do some maintenance and monitoring of your stuff from the side. Like a lot of the extensions have these little panes of extra stuff that you can manage. And that's what I added. I added that in to give some functionality. That's the only reason that I even have as many files as I do. And then a lot of that stuff required me to add um, a couple of new things to the subcode, and that's why you see these files. This is kind of where everything is happening. You can see I haven't updated any of these other files in a while, but this is kind of where the references is getting built, and it's doing all these different pieces and parts. And I've been breaking it down because some of the code was getting kind of hairy. I mean, like big and ugly hairy. So now I've got like this file, which is only this big, and you can see the whole thing. And I've got this one, which again, it's getting up there, but it's not too bad. It's probably only what, a couple hundred? Yeah, a couple hundred. Um, and then, I've got this guy who's hardly anything. So they're all simple. They're all like decently sized. This one's pretty big. How big is that one? See, you start getting up into 500 lines of code in a thing, and I feel like, ugh, starts to hurt. I don't like to see 500 line. To me, that's big. Even though it's not all one function or anything, it's a lot of little functions, but it still kind of like bugs me. I don't like them to get over a couple hundred, if possible. But see, like that one's big, which I just built the maintenance one. The thing is, some of those functions are kind of large. And then there's this guy who I keep reducing. It's got 500. And then the lens tasks, which I've also reduced a few times. And that one's got 500. So they're both sitting like 500 is kind of like my breaking point. Once I get into that 500, I start looking for ways to reduce that into a more manageable file size. Because some of these were getting upwards of 1,000 lines, and I like, okay, that's when we had to break it down. So I started breaking them down into smaller parts. Because for one, it makes it a lot easier to know where certain code is, right? So now I know that I have this gets the task ID. This is the navigation through the drop-down menu. And then this is the ref builder. This is the thing that's going to build your line that's going to get put on the screen for you. It's going to be saved so you can see all your links. This here actually builds the links. It's going to go through and manage some of the link building and stuff like that. That's what you're doing. And then this is actually building up some. This is some of the tasks involved with making the calls. It's kind of where things kind of come through to go through the task reference and the task ID. So it's going to go through here, make the calls, make the calls, make the calls. So, and it does some other things because, like on the reference link, I have the ability to make assignee. So if you're working in a group, you can assign yourself to it, or you can see that someone else is already assigned to it. Maybe you should be working on something else and not taking someone else's work. I don't know, just a thought. But it also has a link in there that's like takes you to ClickUp, or you can change the status. Say, you've made it, you go from complete to, or from in progress to complete, or maybe from in design to in development. So either way, you're going to be able to change your status. So those are all inside here on the code, on the task functions as well. And then you've got lots of logging and error messages telling you what the frick's happening on your code. So some of that takes up a lot of space in my lines too. And some of that I might get rid of in time because once I've kind of got it working, I don't need so many logging and error messages. It would reduce the size of the code some. All right, so let's see. We got the problem. Why? The code only treats references with visible markers as active. If you add a marker for a new task ID, it creates a new minimal reference, but in your storage or in memory, references are not merged correctly. All the references may be lost from the active set. All right, so solution, fix the merging logic in blah, 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 so that all stored references are always included as active and marker-only references are added as unconfigured if not already present. Do not overwrite or hide existing references just because a new marker is added. Well, that would be good. I didn't even know it was doing that. Make sure all stored references are always included and only new marker-based references are added as needed. All right. I will update references. Let's see what it did. What did it do? How much code? It only made 7 changes, which is good. I like only 7 changes. It's getting rid of that. All right, before I approve, let's see you on removing orphan. There. Save. Save. All right. Um, no. So I'm just confirming with the AI before I start accepting all the stuff it's doing. Because it's like, for one, why is it removing my comments? Like, I don't want you removing my comments. But I don't mind. I mean, ultimately, I will be removing most of my console.log comments. Um, but not until everything works, right? Because you kind of need those to track and debug your code. So if something goes wonky, you're like, what's going on? And you can go, oh, well, this ref, which is supposed to have a value, is now empty. It's like, that's a problem. So you got to be able to have that. And if it deletes your logs, and you're like, okay, where's this problem occurring? Even though, I mean, it's like it didn't even put in a try catch. I know you were saying before, Java, this is TypeScript, which is a variation of JavaScript. Um, but JavaScript is pretty far from Java, from what I'm told. I always thought it was just a subset of Java, like Java was like the papa, and JavaScript was the little baby. It's not the case. It used to be. There was a point, I guess, where JavaScript branched from Java, and then they kind of went off in their own little direction. And now JavaScript is kind of its own thing, and Java's over here. That just it's kind of like JavaScript grew up to be its own thing, and now Papa Java is doing its thing. They still have some characteristics that are very similar, but I've been told that they're pretty far apart. It's similar from what I've heard. I haven't programmed in Java enough. It was just my understanding, and then I talked to some people who know the difference, and they said, yeah, it's similar, but it's pretty. What Java does is considerably more now than what JavaScript does, and JavaScript is just really about web development. That's what JavaScript's. I mean, you can do a lot with JavaScript. You can create apps and other things, but it's going to create kind of an app-like, web-like UI, web-like functionality. If you really want to get into the weeds of the complexities, Java's kind of going to be a lot more robust and does a lot more stuff. And it's kind of like you've got. If you think of it as like a Christmas tree, you know, the big fat bottom, really massive size is on the bottom part of the tree. That's Java. JavaScript, you know, then it branches off through the trunk. So each new level of branches go up through the trunk, right? So at some point farther up, JavaScript came out. Now JavaScript went out and did its own thing, but it's kind of like its own little path. It's related to Java through the trunk, but it's stuff it's doing is different. It's not the same. The branches are smaller. They do different stuff. Their purpose is different, you know, but it's kind of a different animal now. So yeah, let's just say the syntax is similar. But there's so much new code in it or new functionality that there's things that Java does syntactically that don't even exist in JavaScript. And there's probably some that go the other way too. Like I said, they've kind of branched off of each other. All right, let's see what it says. When you delete ClickUp Task ID anchor, so it does say it's still running at the current function. The fix I applied ensures that all starter references are included as active unless their marker is missing. Ah, okay. If you delete an anchor, that references will not be included in the next scans because its marker is gone. The reference will not be shown in the UI and save it, and on save it will be purged. So yes, okay. So it says yes, it's not breaking anything. I'm gonna trust it and say okay. Well, since you promised, no reason for me to not trust you. So why is it deleting my comments? All right, let's let it. Maybe I'm not using. No, it is using ref still. Or maybe ref is kind of big now. I don't know. Let's go ahead and get rid of them. I would rather it at least put in a try catch or something. Let's see. Uh, include So it's going from includes ref. All right, so it's definitely doing some rebuilds. Let's see what it does. Hopefully it's not breaking anything. There's only 7 changes. It's not too serious. Plus small stuff. Shouldn't be a major deal if I have to rebuild it. Let's see if it fixed it though, because it does have a tendency to make changes, don't do anything, which is really irritating. Because that just makes me nervous when it makes changes and then nothing happens. It's like, okay, I've had to do major changes and then I go, yeah, you won't like TypeScript then. It's not just boring, it's a pain in the backside. TypeScript is like, oh my gosh, TypeScript is JavaScript where you have to type everything, everything, everything. it's, it is it is not fun, my friend. I do not like TypeScript, but it's safer, and I think that's probably why VS Code requires it. I think VS Code requires it because it is a type safe language. Um, and as a result, it does make it a little bit less prone to having bad stuff flowing through it because you're forcing everything to fit a certain type. There's no variance. There's no variant options in TypeScript. Everything has to be declared in some way. So yeah, it's kind of a thing. Oh, wait, what did you do, man? You left a bug. You left a bug in my code. The bugs in the code. I have noticed lately, though, especially with GPT 4.1, there's a couple of errors it does that are just like basic errors, like syntax. I mean, one of the things I thought I noticed early on, it was very rare for AI to make syntax errors. I mean, like leaving out commas and parentheses and semicolons. But I don't know if it's TypeScript or what, but I have been seeing, especially GPT 4.1, making a lot of syntax errors. Things like forgetting parentheses, forgetting commas, stuff like that. It's like, really? That's not supposed to be. Mhm, mhm. It didn't do anything. You didn't even fix the error. Did not even fix the error. Did you typo a lot? I don't know if it's my keyboard. Is my keyboard forgetting letters or is it me? Did I actually type that id? All right, well, let's got past that. All right, let's go see what nonsense actually all this nonsense actually did. Did it make my life better or worse? Do things work better or worse than they did before? Right, wait, geez, all my references are gone? Holy French fries, man! Where did they all go? Did I not hit save? Oh, I probably didn't hit save because I deleted them all. And then let's copy this guy. First, let's see if this creates correctly. That would be good. Let's It's supposed to build a reference right here. Now it might take a second because it is known to take a second, and it's probably still loading stuff. Nope. I'll even try a refresh, but don't think that did anything. Well, reference was created. Did it create it at least in the oh, oh, oh good. Nothing like that often. So it looks like it created my link, but it created the reference, but it didn't actually put it on the screen. How did they new anchor to anchor tag? Anything, anything, anything. Those changes didn't fix anything with an extra space in the middle. So I had my when I was doing my play, I have an app I downloaded called something rehearsal, something like that, and it actually was pretty cool. I mean, I could say what lines were mine, and then it would read all the other lines for you. So you can it would read all the lines, and then when your turn came up, it would beep, and you say your thing. But it had this thing about capital names. Like there was a name that was all capitalized, so it would spell it out. So like the person's name was Mrs. Slides. If you put a period after anything, it puts a delay, like a stop. So it would do something like Mrs. Slydes, Mrs. Slydes, blah 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 blah. Then Mrs. Slydes, blah, 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 blah. So it always had this long gap at the period and spelled out slides. It's like, what the heck? So it'll always treat every period, even after an abbreviation, as a stop, a delay. So you always, and it put a long delay. The periods had huge delays in them. So if it wasn't at an appropriate spot, you're like, why is it stopping? So it was always kind of weird. So I had to take off all the periods after misses, so it would read it and just keep going like it was just a word. And then I had to change SLYDS. I don't know why this script had it all capital because it's just the name, right? So it should capital S. It should have been lowercase LYDES. But when I changed it, it started reading it correctly. But it was kind of goofy that it would always spell it out or say misses with a period. It was just, it had some weird, holy guacamole. What? See, now it's starting to get, it's only one change. What is it doing? Basically rewriting this whole function though. Always show a code lens for any reference. All right, so what is it doing? Sometimes it's really not as much of a change as you think. It's just restructuring stuff. Sometimes it is as much as you think. Sometimes it's more. It's like a big deal. So this is a console.log. It's just getting rid of the console.log, which I'm not too worried about. And then it's doing return reference.taskID, and then we're doing a return, and it's doing this whole bit. So it's just getting rid of the console.log. And what, not creating a breadcrumb anymore? Oh, breadcrumbs at the bottom. That's the last step. So it's deleting the log and putting in code to mislead you completely. So it's building, okay, so I see what's happening. So it's building this reference and the reference range start. I don't know what all that nonsense is, but so it's building up the reference and the values that are going to go in here so that it can just do it in a simple line versus this option where it's going breadcrumbs and then building up the individual parts. All right, let's try it. It's not as much as it looks. It kind of reduced it a little bit. I don't know why we're doing double code lens though. This is all the same. I feel like this is bad code because like we got it twice, right? So it's got code lens reference.range, and then if missing details, show a setup lens for incomplete references. All right, well, that might show me some stuff. It's not. I don't understand why I'm doing it. Missing details. Kind of weird. I don't know if I like the way this is laid out because it's doing the exact same thing, right? Reference range, document URI range. It does a return on it. So it just says if this is missing. So why aren't we just checking to see if any of that stuff's missing right out the gate? Document URI, reference range. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing here. There's no reason why this test can't be done first. No task ID, show generic setup lens. Huh. Yeah, I may have to fix that. See, this is the problem. AI, like what's it doing there? It's like, why is it making a test of identical code? Why doesn't it just do that test at the beginning? It should be one line. I only have to do it once. And if it's missing something, then it just tells you, hey, you're missing something. Even the comment, or even this whole title is the same. Setup ClickUp reference. ClickUp Link dot setup. Yeah, so it's all the same. There's no reason for it to be like that. Oh yeah, 4.1, not smart. Not as smart. Really, the honest truth is, Claude is the best. I have seen lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of flaws between ChatGPT and even Gemini. Just things that are just kind of funky. And honestly, I feel like 3.7 was pretty solid, and I'm not even completely sure Claude 4 is better. It's kind of like they got smarter, but more flawed. You know what I'm saying? It's like they come up with answers better. They seem to understand and do things better, or come up with solutions better, but their solutions are broken. It's not that they can't be right. They just tend to be have more errors. It's kind of like what they did was they expanded their ability to bring stuff in, but they pulled the cells apart, so now there's holes in it. It's kind of like they're stretching out their ability, but not getting more efficient. They're just getting more, let's say, more knowledge. It's kind of like wisdom versus knowledgeable. When it was smaller, it was wiser, more intelligent. It gave you more concise, better answers from what it knew. But then there's those things where they get knowledge, and now it's getting more knowledge, and it's just not as wise. It's not able to deduce the correct answers because it's just got too much stuff in it. It's starting to clutter itself. It's almost like we're getting diminishing returns, and literally it's diminishing the more it gets more knowledgeable. It's yeah. So now I have a reference, but I don't have a link for it. So let's go back and we'll try to use the same link and see if that puts this one back. Because it didn't delete the link, even though it's orphaned, which is really weird. Nope, didn't work. Is it this one? Bug reference not moving. Yep. We definitely lost some. I wonder if that moved. That just still says 929. Huh. Let's see what'll do. Hmm. Now, now we have line 28 one. Nope. All right. Well, see, this is starting to be one of those things where I think I'm going to have to fix it myself again. I'm finding AI is just this AI just can't fix it. It's just ChatGPT is just not smart. It can't. It's not as smart as the other AIs. It's becoming a hindrance. Did it put anything in the debug console? Okay, so I think what happened. I think what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to go in there and fix it myself. What time is it? It's 1:23. I'm gonna stop. So if anybody's still out there, Karama, whatever, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, get me a dessert, come back down. I'm gonna start again. I'm gonna fix this out, and I will stay online. Hopefully, I'll solve it, but I'll have to do it on my own because AI can't do it. So this will be fun. I'll figure it out. I mean, I know where it happens, so it's like, okay, well, the call is just not being made, and AI doesn't know what the heck it's doing. So we'll have to fix it on my own next. But until then, God bless.